Okay. Making sure we're live, making sure everything is doing what it needs to do. Mic check 1, 2. Okay. I think we're live. I think we're recording. We in the same breath. All right. Hello and welcome to the Elemental Entrepreneurship Podcast. I'm your host, Sarah, and I am here today with your Sagittarius season reading for the collective. I am very excited about these cards. I think I'm just going to hop right into them. If you are new around here, I do these readings on the first day of a new astrological season. And if it looks like I'm somewhere different, for those of you who are used to seeing me, I am somewhere different. So if you see me a little out of sorts, it's because I'm not in my own house. So every astrological season, when we do this reading, we ask the same 6 questions in the same order. The cards are pre-shuffled over and prayed over, and they come out in the order they come out. And I just give it to you the way that I got them. I never know who this is for. So if it's for you, if it's resonating, please let me know. So we start with what's going on for you right now. And the card that we got is free from judgment, free to love. I'm going to put this card up here, put this card up here. So this card ultimately is about mothering and being mothered. This is really about your work. It's not necessarily about being a mother of children on earth, right? Like biologically being a mother. It's about the thing that you're creating, the work that you're trying to do, and the idea of mothering in the divine and universal sense, mothering on a large scale. So with what you're trying to build with your business, with your art, you are trying to build a community. You're working with groups. You are working toward a cause, toward a mission that requires your devotion and your energy and your faith and your willingness to be like a mama bear for the people that you want to work with. You're advocating for their growth. You're advocating for their healing. You're mothering this community and steering and growing the community around your work. And you're mothering your projects, your work itself, your business. You're mothering it to life. And this is also about whoever this is for specifically, your work is probably in the healing field, right? It's a spiritual field, it's a healing field. The work itself helps people. This is part of who you are. You are connected to the universal mother aspect. You believe in life. You are motivated by compassion. You genuinely want to help people. And because this is who you are, and this is the scale that you want to love and nurture and care for people on, what's going on is you are coming into the realization that you need to receive more. This whole reading is about you need to receive more. You need to get into your receiving mode. You need to allow yourself to open up to receive more nurturing. You have to allow other people to nurture you, and you have to nurture yourself more. And the person that needs to hear this, you are not used to that, but you have to do it. You need to allow yourself to be helped so that you can keep helping. You cannot give as abundantly as you want to give in this world if you are not also receiving abundantly. This card is about love on this grand scale, beyond the way that maybe you've been taught about love, or beyond the love that maybe you've even known and experienced in your life. Because you are a person who's here to help people, who's here to create something that moves the collective forward, you have this tremendous capacity for love, both giving and receiving. But historically, you have only been focused on the giving part because you probably have believed that you weren't really worthy of receiving if you didn't give first, that you had to earn love, that you had to perform for love, that the love that you received and the things that you received were contingent upon how hard you worked and how perfect you were and how much you gave. And what's going on right now is that you're realizing that if you keep going this way, you're going to become drained and depleted, especially like if this is how your one-on-one relationships have worked. And now you're moving into a place where you're creating a company, you're creating a business, you want to do healing, helping work on this grander scale. Like if your history, your experience of love is I only receive when I give so much that I'm like nearly giving to the point of making myself sick, you're not going to allow yourself to open up to that many more people because your subconscious is going to be telling you, well, that's not safe. I nearly depleted myself just trying to give in one relationship or just trying to give with 5 clients or just trying to give to my handful of friends. There's no way I can do that at scale. How could I do that with hundreds of thousands of people? You can't, and you're not supposed to. So this block, this thing that's in between you and the growth that you want, the scaling you want, the career that you want, is actually a block around receiving. You're not open to letting things come to you easily. You're not open right now to allowing yourself to be loved, to be respected, to be paid, to be compensated, to have people just show up for you. Right now, that doesn't feel safe and you don't believe it. And you're holding yourself in this idea that all of the things you receive have to come from you working really hard or that you fully don't deserve to receive. And that's not going to work. Like you cannot scale that, right? We talk about scaling a business. What does scaling a business mean? Scaling means more of what you've currently got. So if that's what you currently got, that is not scalable. We've got to clear that up first. You have to be open to receiving on the level that you are trying to build toward. If you want to build a community where you're helping 100 people, are you willing to receive the love, the appreciation, the support, the admiration, the financial compensation from 100 people? Or is that edgy for you? Is that too much receiving? That's the thing that needs to be cleared right now. It's being brought to the forefront in your life, either because you're starting to experience burnout and you're like, there's no way that this is going to be workable. You're starting to realize you need help and being open to getting that help, or it's coming. This realization that like you cannot keep doing things the way that you're doing them is coming. You're being asked to connect with life, right? So that just means nature. Get into nature. Feel yourself as part of nature. You're literally part of Gaia, part of Mother Earth. You're part of you're made of the same substance that the earth is made of. From this connection, tapping into the flow and the reciprocity of nature. Everything naturally flows in reciprocity. So if you've been working towards something or you've been asking for a solution to a specific challenge in your life or in your business, the solution is in the works right now, but part of the solution is you feeling safe to rely on other people and you allowing yourself to receive at a higher level rather than trying to do everything by yourself. So that's what's going on right now. You are coming into a place where like we've got to let go of the judgment that says I have to perform for love. It's all meant, right? All the mental stories that are like, no, I am free to love and I'm free to receive love in a much grander scale than I've been allowing myself to thus far. So what's blocking you from believing that? You have a hard time believing that what you want also wants you. This card is ultimately about not being comfortable with your own desires. Because you've always thought of yourself as a giver, and probably you've believed that you have to earn. I have to earn love. I have to earn money. I have to earn abundance. I have to perform to receive approval. I have to work really hard for the slightest amount of congratulations. You believe that your worth is generated from your doing and not from your being. And because of this, you may feel like anything you want or whatever you ask for is too much. You've been a big, is this too much? Am I being unreasonable? I don't even need that much. It's not even like I ask for a lot. I can handle everything myself. I just need the bare minimum. You've been that person historically. You're almost uncomfortable or afraid to admit to yourself how much you really want from others because you've been made to believe that it's too much, that you're too much, that no one's going to give it to you. No one wants to show up for you. Other people are unreliable. It's not true. So how do you get into receiving more? Well, first of all, you have to be comfortable even admitting how much you want to receive, right? Are you fully comfortable saying, I want $1 million business. I want hundreds of customers. I want thousands of followers, right? You have to start trusting your desire. Your desires do not exist to torment you. I say this all the time. We don't have our desires to torture us. Our desires are here because we're meant to have them. So if you want something, it's because you're supposed to have it and it's not too much. So we got to start with you giving yourself permission to admit what you really want, how much you really want other people to show up for you and show up for your work. If you want, right, like I said, millions of dollars in sales, this huge following, this big business, if you want, um, annual 6-figure, 7-figure sales. If you want people to love your work, people who just show up and buy with no hand holding, people to come out of the woodwork and support you. It all starts with you admitting that you want that and getting fully comfortable owning that you want that and confident saying that you want that and moving like you want that, surrendering any shame you have around wanting that and getting into believing that you can have it. And not only can you have it, but that what you want also wants you. The people that you're wanting to pay you, they want to pay you. The people that you're wanting to follow you and love your work and like champion your work, they want to do that. You have to believe that they want you as much as you want them to be in an even reciprocal field of energy. So it's time to surrender shame around the things that you want and around believing that you can have what you want. If there are people in your life who make you feel like what you want is too much, they need this healing too. Especially if it's family members, people close to you. If they're like the people who installed those beliefs, they need this healing too. So by watching you get comfortable just being like, yeah, I do want a lot of attention. I do want a lot of customers. I do want to make a lot of money. I do want to be really successful. I do want to have a 7-figure business where I only work 20 hours a week. That is what I want. And I have no shame about it. And I don't feel like I don't deserve it. I feel like I can have it. I'm fully on board for that. This is what I want. This is who I am. This is where I'm headed. Those people watching you go for that will have the potential to be healed as well by seeing you go for it. Now, whether they choose to be inspired and like gravitate toward it, or they choose to be haters and whatever, you can't help that part. You can't control that. So we can't guarantee that by you doing it, they will be healed, versus by you doing it, they will be critical. We can't control that part, but that's not on you. Um, just be open to the fact that you can provide the opportunity for these people's healing by you demonstrating, no, it's fully possible to own everything you want without being ashamed about it and to go for it. This card is also a confirmation that the thing that you want is on its way to you. But again, the block is believing that you're even allowed to want it and be happy about having it without having any shame around that. This is big inner work, and this is exactly the type of inner work that we're focused on inside of Powerhouse Mastermind. I just got to sprinkle that in and say this. We just did a whole big group work around receiving mode. So if this is resonating for you and you're like, I need help with this, I help with this, just putting that out there. Okay. So what is the gift that comes on the other side of this block? So once you have worked through this block that you have about allowing yourself to admit what you want, allowing yourself to start owning shame-free all that you desire, what is the gift? The gift is that you come to life. This is about bringing more of who you are online, right? What you want, your desires are part of your truth. They are part of your emotions, your authenticity, your feelings. More of you, creating the capacity for more you, opening yourself up to receive more means you're going to feel more of your own stuff. This is about getting out of your mind and your conditioning and the way that you perform your personality and into just being more you, a deeper connection with your sensuality, your creativity, your body, with life itself. as you start to open up to owning everything that you want, it's going to open you up to more of you in general. So that can mean you're going to feel all your feelings on kind of a bigger scale, more joy and more abundance and more love. But it can also mean you're going to feel more sadness, more rage, things that you haven't been letting yourself access, ways that you look back and you regret, like the periods of your life where you haven't felt that you deserved to receive through nature, like just by the nature of your being versus doing, you're gonna feel that stuff too. And when this happens, your job is to flow with those feelings. So create, make art, write, share it. We're not going to stuff anything down. We're not going to be like, oh my gosh, the second I started opening myself up to receiving more, I started feeling all of these feelings that I don't know what to do with. So let me just shut it back down. No, we're going to have to expand our tolerance, our capacity for feeling everything. We want more abundance, more love, more joy, more reciprocity. We're going to have to expand our capacity for feeling the hard stuff too. That's just how that works. So during this time, give yourself time to sit with those feelings and to process what's coming through. Lean into the reciprocal positive relationships in your life. Be alive, right? The ultimate message of this card is be fully alive with your wants and your likes and your dislikes and your joys and your fears. Let yourself experience all of it and share it with others so that you can experience that reciprocity. People saying, yeah, the thing that you're explaining, the thing that you're feeling, the thing that you're sharing is valid, and I support you. Lean into the places where you can get that kind of witness and reciprocity in your relationships so that you can start to show yourself that feeling all of your feelings and being as much as you are is completely acceptable. And there are people out there who will love you and witness and support you. And that also has to include yourself. You have to be one of the people who witnesses and supports your own emotions and your own depth of feeling across the board. So that is the gift that comes from this experience, which may feel like it's also a little bit of a challenge, but that's how gifts be sometimes. So how do you deal with others during this time? You're not going to like the answer. You do less. You lean back. The card we got is softly, softly, the tender touch. This card is about the essence of feminine energy, right? And we've been talking about this striving, this doing, right? That's a very masculine energetic trait. Like and I don't mean this in terms of gender. I literally mean it in terms of like go and flow, yin and yang, the doing, the performance, the hustle, the receiving, the lean back, the surrender, the flow. You've got to do less right now for others and with others. This is a time where you want more, you want to attain more, you want to achieve more in your life, but you don't necessarily have a greater supply of energy or resources. That means it's time for a paradoxical move. It's time to work smarter, not harder. It's time to lean back and allow things to flow to you. And this makes perfect sense if what's going on right now is we're coming into recognition that we have to allow ourselves to receive more, that we can't be doing backflips and bending over backwards for the bare minimum. So how do we deal with people? We just start doing less. And the people who, like the relationships that fall away when we're not bending over backwards, we let them fall away. And the relationships that sustain themselves, the people who lean forward and they pick up more slack when we lean back, those are the people we keep. This is going to be scary, but this is the guidance. This is where you start practicing. You start practicing receiving more on the micro scale. It's not even that you start doing, you stop doing. You stop doing so much. We are generally taught that the more force we use, the more we can make happen and the more that we're going to achieve. But that is not the only way, and it is not always true. There is a point where more force will not get you a greater yield. That is when we go into this more receiving way, this more feminine way. That's not about striving or pushing or grabbing in order to create what we want. It's about inviting what we want to come into the space we've created for it internally or in our lives, right? I've created the space for you. I set the table. You can come over and you can bring food. I set the table. It's about working in a way that creates energy. It's about working in a way that causes less stress and attracts in what we want. It's an invitation to, or it's about like being an invitation rather than in will or in force. And this card, it comes with a story, and I tell the story every time this card comes up because I love it so much. The wind and the sun were hanging out one day and they were bored and they decided to place a bet. They saw this guy walking down the street with his coat on, and they said, whoever makes him take his coat off first is the most powerful. And so the wind starts blowing and gusting and like whipping the trees. The wind is blowing so hard, the trees get horizontal and they get parallel to the ground. And they're just really trying to like, the wind is really trying to make this guy take his coat off. And the guy just pulls his coat close to him and he bends forward and the wind is whipping and he doesn't take his coat off. And so finally the wind exhausts himself and gets tired and stops blowing. And then the sun goes, okay, it's my turn. And the sun just shines brighter and it gets really hot and the guy just takes his coat off, right? So the wind was trying to do by force what the sun was able to do just by being. You're being asked to be the sun right now. That everything that's going to come to you, it's going to come by way of you shining, you being your biggest, brightest self, allowing your presence itself to invite in the things that you want. Any relationships or you have to work really hard to do anything or to get anything, you've got to step back from those right now because they reinforce your belief that you cannot receive by nature of your being. They reinforce your belief that you're too much, that you want too much, that no one wants to give to you, that you always do more for other people than they do for you. Whatever those old stories are, any relationships that put you in those old stories, you got to let those go right now. If there are relationships that fall apart when you step back, that is the information you need. Let them go. You do not need to push so hard to receive the things that you want to receive. The push itself, the desire to hustle through it, is coming from a place of uncertainty over whether or not you're going to get what you want. It's coming from lack. It's coming from doubt. You've got to have full faith that you're going to succeed, that all things come in time according to love and according to the divine will of the universe. That's what allows you to lay back and to trust. Right now, you're being called on to soften and feel the energy of what you want to attract in your life and act like it's already on its way. You've been working really hard. You've worked really hard probably forever. You have learned a lot and you've accomplished a lot through force and hustle and trying, but it has stopped working, right? Like you're starting to feel like now I'm just spinning my wheels. I'm working really hard and nothing's changing. I've met this cap. That's because you've gone as far as you can go with force. It is time to let go of any force in your approach to creation right now. Everything serves a purpose, and you had to learn effort and willpower and hard work. You had to learn those things, but you're finding that if you continue that approach now, it's just not going to work for you anymore because it's time for you to create on a grander scale than any one person can manifest through willpower alone. That's when it's time for a paradoxical move. You're like, okay, I've gotten this far. And now for some reason, all the things that used to work aren't working. All of the hustle isn't working. Like things that used to come to me through this much work are taking 5 times as much work. And I can't figure out why. That is this tipping point that nearly every client that I've had has had to face. And it feels so confusing because when you believe that hard work is the thing that gets you results and the hard work isn't working, you think, well, I just have to work harder. And you're burning yourself out and you're spinning your wheels. And that's taking you farther and farther away from being in receiving mode. That's why it feels like a paradoxical move to lean back in this moment. But you have to. You have got to do less. You have got to let yourself receive. You've got to lean back. There's just no other way to do it. The message from your spirit guides about how to deal with this time, the message from your spirit guides for right now is spirals of manifestation. And the message is that manifestation is not linear. Our mind is going to decide this is the way forward. And we need to take one clear, logical step from here to here to here. But that's not how manifestation works. You are currently in a spiral of manifestation. So you're looking straight ahead and you're thinking, the thing that I want isn't coming. I don't see it. I don't know where it is. It's not happening. It's nowhere in sight, but it's not true. It's just because it's just around this curve. Like it's right out of your vision. It's right around the corner. You just can't see it from where you are right now. So it might feel farther away than ever before, but it's really close. It is going to just drop into place really soon, and it's going to feel like it just dropped in out of nowhere. But that's because it wasn't ahead of you. It was just around the bend and you couldn't quite see it. But it's been coming all along, like everything is. Sometimes when we feel the farthest away from what we want, we are actually closer than ever before. Just one more loop on the spiral is going to bring us to the thing that we are craving. Right now, Spirit wants you to know you have to keep your faith and you have to keep making progress. And again, so much of this is just standard manifestation stuff that's coming up for us right now. You are maybe getting into a little of, I have to see it to believe it. Anybody can do that. Anybody can see to believe. Your job is to believe so that you can see. You have to believe it now. You have to believe it before you can see it. You have to believe that you're going to be successful. You have to believe that you're going to have the customers. You have to believe that your business is going to work. You have to believe you're going to have the success. You have to believe it before you can see it, because leaders go first. If you want people to invest in you, if you want people to believe in you, you're going to have to lead them there by you doing it first. This is not about believing it when you see it. You've got to shut out any voices of anyone who tells you if it was going to happen, it would have happened already. It's not going to work. And that includes yourself. You have to trust the universe right now. You have to trust source. Everything is unfolding perfectly, whether you feel it or not. The other message of this card right now is pay attention to synchronicities that are taking place in your life. Maybe you've started to notice them already, maybe you haven't yet, but other people are involved in this manifestation. So signs and synchronicities, take them as encouragement that it is coming and helping you keep the faith. Something that's important to understand with manifestation and about receiving, when we get hyper independent and we get into thinking that we alone are responsible for everything happening in our lives, we forget that all of our blessings come to us in the form of other human beings, right? The customer that you want, they need to be in the right place in their life journey to understand the value of your service. They need to be in the right place with their finances in order to buy. There's other people and other people's timelines involved. So you're maybe a little bit in a rush and being like, I want this to happen. I feel like it should have happened already. I think it should be going faster. And you're putting all of this pressure on yourself to get somewhere faster. If you get to the bus early, like, congratulations, you just have to wait for the bus. Like, you're just there early. There's no point in rushing destiny. You've just got to trust that you are attracting what you want and what you need. And it's going to be so much more enjoyable if you're relaxing into the here and now while you are attracting everything that you want for the future. Your life path is unfolding in harmony with other people's paths. You're going to meet each other in the right timing. If you rush, nothing has helped. Doesn't do anything for you. So trust the process. Relax into believing that everything you want is coming. Get your focus on getting into receiving mode. I'm going to talk a little bit more about how we get into receiving mode at the end of this reading, because I think it's really important since this keeps coming up. I just feel it so much. I feel this person. And again, this is exactly the right person to join Powerhouse Mastermind. You are somebody who is a high achiever, who works really hard, who hustles really hard. You have made a lot happen in your life through grit and willpower alone. And you are burning yourself out and frustrating yourself at this point. Like, the next level of growth for you is in this leaning back, is in this receiving at a higher level, is allowing yourself to believe that things can be easier for you, and they can. So your final piece of advice for how we bring all of this into form is the word wants to be written. The thing that you want to create in the world also wants to be born through you. So it's not just that the things that you want from other people, those people want to give to you. The abundance you want, the universe wants to give to you. The money you want, people want to pay you. The fans that you want, people want to support you. And the thing that you want to create, it wants you to make it. It wants to be born through you. You might have been taught that creativity is something that you have to work really hard for, or that like finding your life purpose is this difficult quest that you have to search for. But the truth is, you do not have to struggle so much. This is all about allowing space for everything to flow. The struggle is not about finding something. It's about letting go of the idea that you have to search, that there's like this path out there and you don't know what it is. It's not true. The process of activating your life path is natural for you. It's about getting out of your own way, not about making something happen. It's about letting yourself admit that who you are and the gifts that you've always had are what you are meant to do and what you're meant to be in this world, and allowing yourself to fully do and fully own that. So whatever parts of yourself think that like what you really want is cringe or impossible or not that cool or whatever it is, like whatever these beliefs that you have about the thing that you really want, the hard work is in stripping all of that away and trusting that who you are meant to be was written before you got here. These core things about what you want have always been there. Your purpose isn't out there somewhere. You've always known. So being yourself is the foundation from which your path is going to reveal itself. And being yourself is easier when you give yourself permission to love, honor, and accept yourself in all circumstances, especially the ones where you might be tempted to judge or reject yourself. So going back to the card about the block is not allowing yourself to own the things that you really want and to just be like, yeah, this is who I am. This is what I want. This is what I desire. Yes, I believe I deserve this. Yes, I believe I can have this much. Like, if you have judgment or shame around that, that's going to make it really hard for you to be on your path. So you need to give yourself permission to love and honor and accept yourself, including all of the things that you want, all of the dreams that you have. Any places that you feel tempted to reject or judge yourself need your love and your honor and your permission and your witness right now. This oracle comes with the message that whatever you're trying to do in your life, whatever it is you're trying to build or manifest, it's just natural for you. And that's why you want to do it. Anything that has taught you over the course of your life that you shouldn't do the thing that you want, or has tried to control or manipulate you into thinking that you should be different, right? That you were made to think that who you are was not really acceptable, that has put parts of you into shadow. There are parts of your true self that are now covered in layers of shame from that early life conditioning that you had to be different in order to be loved or to be safe or to be acceptable. But who you are hasn't gone anywhere. It's still in there. It's still within you. And so now your work is chipping away all that shame. It's embracing an attitude of like, who cares? Who cares if what I want is cringe? Who cares if other people think it's weird? I don't care. I'm here. I love myself. I'm fucking going for it, right? Just declaring yourself lovable energetically. Any shaming witness throughout your life that made you feel like who you are and what you want is weird or it's too much, it's time for that to go. You have to allow yourself to realize that shame is just an emotion, not the truth, right? Or it's just a way of witnessing. It's not the truth. It's a thing in your head where you say, no, not that, can't have that, that's too weird. It's not the truth. You can defy it and you can love yourself. You are now powerful enough to break this cycle. It's time right now. It is time to stop any acting through shame and claim that you are love, that you are loved, and you're going to do what you want and become who you want to be and create the thing that you want because it's what you're here to do. It's time to drop your defenses. And we don't really think necessarily of our guardedness or our people pleasing or our over giving or our performing as defenses, but that's what it is. It's a defense mechanism around the sensitive child part that was made to feel I have to be like this in order to be safe and in order to get love. So we got to drop those defenses and let people see the real us. We have to see the real us. We have to own the real us, which requires getting into our grit, right? It's going to be uncomfortable. And you're going to have to confront the power that any of that shaming had over you and just declare that it is finished now. It is time for you to get naked with yourself, spiritually, emotionally. Get really, really honest with yourself so that you can get on with your work. Life is urging you to do this. Everything in your life is converging right now for you to do this because the work wants to happen. The thing that you want to do, the people that you're supposed to help, like the work wants to happen. And it's like, I need you to get out of your own way. I need you to drop the shame and drop the judgment. I need you to get vulnerable with life so that I can come through you because I want to exist. You've got to let go of any remnants of the past that are standing in your way so that you can be on your path. You need to release any person or situation or circumstance that has been a source of shame for you, whether that's conscious or subconscious, and claim yourself. So, what is the shadow work of the season? The shadow is soul work. I'm just going to read it to you. Sometimes while we are navigating our day-to-day life, we can lose sight of our highest purpose on this earthly realm. This card asks you to once again check in with your soul purpose. It is not possible to be derailed from your soul path no matter where you are, but clarity does help us show up for it in a more intentional way. Here are some journaling questions about this shadow. What are you here to teach? What are you here to learn? What stirs in your heart? Spend some time reflecting on your soul mission and how you can integrate it into your life. And I think it's so fascinating that with this reading that was all about you need to allow yourself to get into receiving mode. You need to let yourself be witnessed. You need to let yourself admit how much you want. You need to let yourself be seen in what you want. That the card that we get for the shadow work says that when we're in our day-to-day life, we can lose sight of our purpose. That really feels accurate to what's happening, especially if this reading for you is about a business or something you're trying to create, that we can really get into, especially in America, right? Like bills, the day-to-day hustle, how am I going to make money? Having a business isn't safe. This thing that I want to do is never going to really support me. And there is immediate, constant, crushing need to keep the roof over my head. So how do I admit that I really want this other thing, this other life, that I want to live a different way while being caught up in trying to keep the lights on? And that's real, right? And we can get so bogged down in maintaining our status quo that we lose track of who we're really meant to be and what we're supposed to be working toward. And we've got to be really aware of that right now. Because this reading was so heavy on getting into receiving mode, I've mentioned a couple times, we just did a lot of work around receiving mode inside Powerhouse Mastermind, because everything really that this reading came up with, and again, I don't handpick these cards. I shuffle and they fall out where they fall out. It just so happens that this card is really speaking to a very ideal client for Powerhouse Mastermind. A lot of the people in Powerhouse Mastermind are very hardworking, diligent, high achieving, high performing individuals who hit this point where they're like, the way that I'm working will not work anymore. It's not scalable. And what we start to uncover when we start to go into the work of trying to build a scalable aspect of their business is that they have a lot of inner blocks around believing that they can receive, around allowing things to be easy, around trusting that people are going to show up for them. And there's a lot of receiving mode work that has to be done in order to put us in the position to receive on the scale that we want to receive on. And what I will say, I don't want to get too deep into it, join Powerhouse Mastermind, we can do a lot more work, is that frequently, if we're looking at the Abraham Hicks formula of ask, believe, receive, if we're having trouble in receiving mode, it's because we're having trouble with the asking, which our cards confirmed. We're uncomfortable with our desire. We're not asking for 100% of what we want. We don't believe we can have what we really want. And we have trouble with believing. We have trouble with steps 1 and step 2. I don't believe I can have what I really want. That's why I ask for second best, or I say, well, I'd love 20 people in my current program, but I would settle for 5, right? Like, what do you mean? It's because you don't believe that 20 is possible, right? So if you feel like this was resonant for you and you struggle with receiving mode, check in, take this time to check in with, am I comfortable fully owning what I want? Do I even ask for 100% of what I want? As an experiment, let me ask for 150% of what I want for a little while, just so I can practice stretching myself into asking, not even for just what I want, not for the bare minimum, but let me ask for more than I even want, just to practice. And then the other thing is to look at what comes up when receiving feels uncomfortable. What thoughts, like I don't deserve this because, or but that would never work because. Those thoughts are a blueprint of the shadow work that is blocking your receiving mode. So dive into that. Don't accept those thoughts in face value. Go, where did I learn that from? Is that true? Do I believe that? Do I want to believe that? Does believing this get me close to the thing that I'm trying to create? That's something that you can look at, because it is going to show you exactly where the blocks are that are preventing you from stepping into receiving mode. And then finally, practice receiving in small ways. So if someone offers to help you and you're a no, I got it person, let them fucking help you. If someone says, hey, I'm coming over, can I bring something? And you would usually be like, no, no, I have everything. Let them bring something, especially if it's not something you need, right? They're like, hey, I'm coming over, can I bring something? And maybe you'd be like, I feel comfortable saying they can bring beverages. Let them bring flowers. Let them bring chocolate. They offered. So if somebody says, hey, can I bring something? Practice saying yes and letting someone bring you something. Practice appreciating compliments. When somebody gives you a compliment, practice like hand on your heart. Take a deep breath. Don't be like, no, no, no. Or don't be like, yeah, thanks, but it's really uncomfortable for me. I receive that. Thank you. Practice accepting it. Practice appreciating a sale, even if it's 12 bucks. Celebrate it. Give yourself a moment to really be like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited that that person just bought from me. That feels so good. I receive that. And let yourself feel it. Practice appreciating laying on the couch and watching a TV show, right? That is a receiving thing. I am being supported by my couch. I am receiving entertainment. I don't have to do anything for it. All I have to do is lay here. Practice not just numbing out while you're doing something like that, but experiencing it as receiving mode. That all I'm doing is being poured into from multiple systems right now. Practice appreciating receiving a like on a post, a comment on a post. Practice appreciating, because receiving mode is appreciation mode, right? We can't be simultaneously in, I don't have enough, and oh my gosh, it feels so good to receive this. Those two energies don't go together. So if we struggle with receiving mode, practicing appreciating what you have and noting, oh, I'm receiving something right now and that feels good and I appreciate it. Practice small and start experimenting with what it feels like to allow yourself to receive something and appreciate it in the moment. And then noticing where it feels stretchy, where it feels uncomfortable, where it feels like too much. And what are the thoughts that are coming up when that happens? That's going to show you exactly where you have work to do. Okay. One person on Instagram said, this whole reading is spot on. I'm a poet and my book is waiting to be written. Yes, it is. Get it done, get it out. We all need it. I want to read your book. So I'm waiting on you. Got to get it done. Before I wrap up, I want to announce one more time that the doors for Powerhouse Mastermind are opening on Black Friday, and we are going to be working together for 6 months on creating the internal and external conditions for you to receive way more than ever before with way less work in your business. The applications are going to open on Black Friday. If you're not on my mailing list, you can go to intuitiveedgecoaching.com/sign up, and you will be the first to hear about it. Follow me on Instagram at Intuitive Edge Coaching. Follow me on YouTube at Intuitive Edge Coaching. Listen to my podcast, Elemental Entrepreneurship Podcast. It's on the podcast. It's all happening. Also, because it's Black Friday, I'm giving you $1,000 off the founder's rate. The price for this mastermind is doubling next year. But this year you're getting the founder's rate and $1,000 off that. So it is the best possible time to get in on working with me intimately for 6 months. And if you want more than that, if working with me in a small group is not enough, I have 3 spots left to work with people one-on-one in 2025. And when you work with me one-on-one, Powerhouse Mastermind is included. So you will get that too, which is pretty exciting. Okay, that's all the news I have. If this reading was resonant for you, I would love to hear from you. You can leave a comment on YouTube. You can leave a comment on Instagram. If you're listening on the podcast, you can shoot me an email, intuitiveedgecoaching@gmail.com, or message me on Instagram or YouTube or wherever I'm around. All right, that's